Good morning. What a great set of speakers, and really getting people excited about our education challenges. So I thought I'd start ours with venturing into the national fray of politics. They say TED talks are supposed to be pretty controversial, so I thought I'd get us going that way. Specifically, I'd like to weigh in on this national debate of the importance of a college degree and the call to increase the number of people who have college degrees in our country. And in politics, people say all sorts of things, as Rick Santorum did when he accused President Obama of being a snob when he said, we should ensure that everyone goes to college. If that's true, then we are a nation of snobs. An Economist report pretty recently on a poll showed that 94% of parents in America want their kids to go to college. And in Louisville, we did a similar study of college attitudes in 2009 and attitudes about higher education. Of high school students, 96% said college is highly important. But they could also communicate why, and things that you all know about and think of when you think of college. Financial stability, better homes, being able to raise a family, being a better citizen, and an important one, it increases self-confidence. To be fair, politics often elicits pretty exaggerated statements, but they hone in on the questions that are top of mind for a lot of people. Is a college education for everyone? That same study that high school students responded saying, 96% of them saying college is highly important, those high school students said, but when asked the question, should everyone go to college? Only 72% said that. Why? Because they know that some kids need to go right on to get a job. Others would be joining the military. Others would be joining a family business. And some might be getting an apprenticeship to be in the skilled trades. But even in the skilled trades and in the military, they provide training beyond high school. The reality is clear that in order to improve employability and financial stability and earnings, that you need to have a college degree, and that increases with the college degree. And there's lots of data out there to show that, but this is a slide that I like to show. It shows that relationships between earning and education over a lifetime. The black dotted line is median income in the United States, a little over $40,000. If you notice that blue line, which is a bachelor degree, people with bachelor's degree start at the median income and rise from there. Those, though, who only have a high school degree, that red line, they never even reach the median income on average in their lifetime. And the green line is associate's degrees. Pretty solid middle of the road. Meet that median income in our nation. That difference translates to $1 million in lifetime's earnings between somebody who has a bachelor's degree and somebody who has just a high school degree. So wouldn't you want everyone to have this opportunity? Wouldn't we want everyone to be able to be college ready when they graduate high school? Wouldn't we want everybody to have this ticket to a middle and income lifestyle and set of earnings? And our world of work is changing too. The workforce today is demanding more problem solving, complex reasoning, ability to learn independently. And this is needed in this global society where we're competing with people from around the world. We're digitally connected, we're socially connected. And in order to get a good job, which we all want, education is the path. But so if this personal opportunity argument is not enough for you, how about the national competitiveness angle? Maybe that would be more convincing. The actual comment that President Obama said is that we all need to get at least a year of education beyond high school, training, certificate, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, or higher. Why? Because the U.S. has lost its place, and some would say has lost its way, in rankings with the rest of the world. We used to be number one in the number of people in our adult population, in our workforce, that had college degree. We have dropped to 12th. And you know, among those same countries, the OECD countries, the US is the only OECD country where the younger people, those aged 25 to 34, are not as well educated as the 55 to 64-year-old. The only OECD country where younger people are not as well educated. And that shortage is predicted to be 1.5 million jobs by 2020, where we don't have enough college grads for the jobs that we anticipate in 2020. So that's why the president is making this push. You know, and we've done this study here in Louisville as well. So this was a study, it's called the TIP report, some of you may have heard about it, that looked at what requirements our jobs in our community needed. In 2009, only 38% required a college degree, but in some kind of post-secondary training. But by 2018, that's going to be 60%. That's a huge, dramatic increase in the number of people needed. And when we looked closer at, well, what's our supply? We did an analysis of our education pipeline. This is a cohort study. About 10,000 people are born in Louisville every year. Of those 10,000 people, we're losing them at every stage of the education pipeline. Only a certain number are getting out of high school. Only a certain number are going on to college. And then of those who go on to college, only a few persist to their first year. So that by the end, only 25% of that birth cohort is getting a college degree. So you've got 60% of the jobs requiring post-secondary education, only 25% of our population doing this. And the picture is worse for minorities and low income. You know, we did the ranking of where we were in our degree attainment in this community. We were in the lower tier overall, with about 30% of our population having a bachelor's degree. But we were dead last in African American attainment, with only 14% of African Americans in this community having a college degree. So it's not only an economic imperative, it's a moral imperative that we change these statistics. So I'm back to my local story. I wanted to tell this story in a local community's response to these statistics in this call. It's a powerful story. It's a community that said our business leaders, our education leaders, our civic leaders wanted to come together because we need more better educated people. So what to do? It's a question that everyone had a lot of answers for, but no one had a solution. We could pound on the public schools, perform, stop failing, improve your scores. We could pound on the higher ed institutions. Too many people are starting and not finishing. Improve. We could raise a massive scholarship fund because we know that cost is a big issue in being able to go on to college. We could demand that employers provide tuition reimbursement for their students. But in Louisville, we rejected that finger-pointing, blaming approach and said, we can work together on this, and we need to, and we must. We came around a shared vision and a common agenda that we would have greater impact collectively than all working only in our silos. So we came up with a plan that would get us to this vision of greater prosperity and greater quality of life in our community. With mayoral leadership, we brought together the university and college presidents of our area, the superintendents of both the public and private archdiocesan schools, civic leaders and community leaders like Metro United Way, the Urban League, and our business community, GLI, and a group of business leaders for education, all rallied together under the mayor to form an education roundtable. And with that, we set a common goal, a shared agenda. We committed to measuring our progress and to sharing data publicly, and that we would work together. So what was that goal? Well, as I mentioned, we had been looking at ourselves in comparison to the competitor cities. These are cities that are like Louisville in sort of regionally as well as size, and provides us a good sort of benchmark. As you see, we were in the bottom tier. We wanted to move up to the top tier. What would that take? In bachelor's degrees, we need to move from 30% to 40%. And that translates to 40,000 more degrees over this decade. In associate's degrees, to move into that top tier, we need to move from about 7.5% of our population with associate's degrees to 10%. That puts us actually in first. That's 15,000 degrees. 40 and 15, we've got 55,000 degrees. So we also had, besides this common goal then being set, and by the way, that means that we'd roughly have about, moving from about a third of our population to half of our population having a college degree. So we also said we need to have a shared agenda. What is that agenda? We set 5 objectives. First, a college-going culture. How do we create this and share this sense of urgency? And how do we encourage more to have this higher expectation and vision for the opportunities that are provided by further education? Second, we needed to reach out to not only those who are in the pipeline, the demographics are such we don't have enough. We've got to reach out to those adults in this community that have some college but no degree. We have almost 100,000 adults that have some college and no degree. And business stepped up to say, we'll tackle that one. We'll work with our employees. We will help embrace the business community. We'll help look for ways to improve access by not only tuition reimbursement, but by flexible work hours and by working with colleges and universities to say, can some of the things they've been learning on the job be counted as credit? A third area, so we've got college culture, reaching adults through the business community. Access and affordability. This is the big elephant in the room whenever you start talking about college degrees. With rising tuition and historically high rates of tuition and ballooning student debt. We're over $1 trillion in student debt in this community now, in this country. But there are lots of ways to approach that. At every one of our board meetings, we have a student who talks, gives testimonial. Recently, we had somebody from Yum Brands, 20-year associate at Yum Brands, who said, I've got tuition reimbursement, but I'm really not sure how to do this, but I really want to try. Somebody gave her some support. She had like 80 credits, 80 hours towards her degree. The first person she talked to said, this is going to take a long time, but if you come over here, let me tell you about this degree where you can get some of this credit for your prior experience and where you can begin to work toward a degree that counts a lot of the credits you already have. That reduces cost in the end. It also reduces time. So there are lots of ways in terms of access, too, that we need to help people move on. It's not just about affordability. And then the last area is persistence and completion. A lot of people start, but they don't finish. How can we approach that? How can we provide the support so that more people graduate? In our area, we have about graduation rate of about 52% for the 4-year universities. And when you look at the open access institutions of our community colleges in the area, a dismal 28% are graduating in 3 years. So college-going culture, adults in the community, helping them go back, access and affordability, persistence and completion, and that whole college readiness piece, getting more to college. So this cross-sector table, the 55,000 degrees leadership, has gotten a lot of attention. Why? Because it is this broad sector leadership. We're not doing the blame game. We're sharing this. We're saying we all have a stake in this, and we have to help each other. So we've embraced the data. That's our first job, is to share the data publicly. We have a data dashboard. We're putting out an annual progress report. We're saying that revealing data like only 31% of our high school graduates are college ready. And the remediation rates of those who are just first entering college are very high as well. We have to share that and find those problems to then say, okay, this is an opportunity for action. We're going to work on that. What else are we doing? We're creating partnerships across sectors. So the community college and the public schools are working on an early college high school. We've got 3-4 downtown universities working together to open up an access center on the Simmons College campus in West Louisville. We've got businesses working with universities who have said, we need to make this flow from our adult employees more seamless to be able to go back. And we have a group of African American leaders who saw that data about the low attainment of African Americans, said we must change those statistics. And they've stepped up and said, we're going to create a 15,000 degrees initiative. We're going to target 15,000 more of these 55,000 degrees to be obtained by African Americans. So we're making a very explicit and intentional focus on correcting those inequities of the past, because we have to tap into that pool of minorities and low income that have lived through years of being told they are not college material. Well, I heard an early testimony, we had an early testimonial from somebody that was told he wasn't college material. Dr. Adewale Troutman, who was until recently Louisville's public health and wellness director, he grew up in the Bronx. And he was told, you're not college material, you know, you should be an auto mechanic. And he lived in that area, lived up to those low expectations. When he graduated high school, he had a D average. Luckily, he had a friend who went on and said, let's go to community college, let's apply, and got him to apply. He continued those poor grades in his first semester, but he also got on the wrestling team, and he really liked that. And they said, to stay on the team, you have to improve your grades. He started doing that. He started getting serious. And then now he's gone on to not only get an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a medical degree as a doctor, an MPH, and another master's degree. So this man, who now has led an emergency room of Newark Hospital, he's led 2 public health departments in Atlanta and Louisville. He's a global expert on health equity, and he's a university professor. That's the man who's not college material. So I hope I've been able to share with you a little bit of the picture of opportunity and provide a sense of urgency to be able to spread the word that college is something we all have to be thinking of. And we're now looking to this, how do we mobilize a community? How would you mobilize a community to get us rallying around this community goal? We are about to launch, stay tuned, a program called Count Me In. Did I go too far? Was that already there? Yep. Count Me In, and it's an opportunity for everybody to pledge. Think about it. What can you do? Pledge for yourself to say, I'm going to finish my college degree. Make sure somebody else finishes as well. Make sure that other people have the opportunities by tutoring and mentoring others. We're really trying to engage everybody in this shared responsibility for moving our community forward. And we often get asked, but how are you going to get to this goal? And the mayor likes to say, it's pretty simple, 1 degree at a time. And that's what it's going to take, is us helping each other get there 1 degree at a time. Because collectively, we can have the kind of impact that 55,000 degrees represents. Does anybody know what 55,000 degrees also is? It's the temperature of a lightning strike. That's the kind of impact we'd like to have on this community. Because education, you know, is the great equalizer. It provides people hope. And that's the power in 55,000 degrees. Thank you.